report on the ProView Network. Joining me are my cohorts, Spencer Hill and Brooklyn Green. So we're going to jump immediately into the Unser Racing Museum event calendar. Coming up on Saturday, April 14th, is the Fitzgerald Glider Kits 300 for the Xfinity race. The Monster Energy series is going to be the Food City 500 on Sunday the 15th. IndyCar, April 15th, the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, which I've actually been to. It's a fantastic race. Formula One will be at the Chinese Grand Prix. NHRA, April 20th through the 22nd, will be the Spring Nationals. But going on at the Albuquerque Dragway, we've got a couple of shots from that. We'll have the Street to Strip from 11 to 4. There's a couple of shots that we've got from when they had the AFXs there a couple of weeks ago. But the Street to Strip program is basically an opportunity for you to come out for $25, bring your car out and run as many passes as you want. So it's an opportunity to actually find out what your car is capable of doing. Going on at Sandia Motor Speedway on Saturday the 14th is the Clay Oval. Racing is going to start at 4 o'clock. It's the Carcrafters non-wing program season opener. There's also going to be an autocross with the Porsche Car Club, because when I actually saw that, I thought, well, that would be funny to run some Porsches over on the oval. But clay season's getting going there. Sunday there'll be a track day over on the road course and a time attack. But wanted to talk a little bit about this past weekend. You both actually went down to southern New Mexico. I was very jealous, by the way. It looked like you guys had a good time. And of course, you winding up in Winter Circle. I mean, you were there too. I didn't quite figure out, how in the world did you get to Winter Circle? We'll come back to you in just a second.
I end up everywhere. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Brooklyn was running all over the place this week.
And that's how we remember that. But let's take a look at some of the photos that you got there. And I think we started off with a video of you in Winter Circle.
Yeah, it was a really awesome weekend down at the Southern New Mexico Speedway. Of course, ended up in Victory Lane back at the Southern New Mexico Speedway, where we raced Friday and Saturday night for the 305 Sprint Shootout. That's all of us in Victory Lane. You see Brooklyn there, lower left. One of my really good friends, Diane Hassel, to the right side of the photo. It was her birthday on Saturday too, so that was really special to get her in Victory Lane. My friend Mikey on top, and then of course Josh Jackson. I got to spend Victory Lane with him too, which was really special to me this weekend.
That's fantastic. Now, didn't he win a heat race? Did I see that?
He did, yeah. He won the heat race on Saturday night and was doing really good in the main on Saturday as well, until a little bad luck with about 4 laps to go. He ended up spinning it and didn't get to finish, but he was looking really good up until then.
Awesome. Well, just to embarrass you, we're going to play the video
yeah, why don't we roll
from
my,
Winter Circle.
My Victory Lane interview real quick.
It was hard to get the nose planted, and then there in the main event, it was just slick all the way around. I was really happy to pedal it, probably more than I ever have here at the Southern New Mexico Speedway. Really awesome night though, really proud of my crew. Happy that Diane Hassel is here with us. She's part of the team, Hassel Racing, big part of this team. Mikey, Brooklyn, of course Josh Jackson over here. It's really cool to have him in Victory Lane with us too, especially at the Southern New Mexico Speedway. A lot of history there. Really special night though. Huge thank you to Jim. My dad, he couldn't make it tonight, but I'm sure I'll be telling him about it here shortly.
There you have it, Spencer Hill, your mini sprint main event winner here.
Well, that was pretty good. I mean, you couldn't have planned that any better to be able to come in and have some Winter Circle video.
It was really a great weekend down south. That's the first time I've been able to go back-to-back to Victory Lane in, I think, 2 years. So getting that done in the VP Racing Fuels SCH Motorsports Hassel Racing number 4S was just a great opportunity, and I love the track down there too, so that made it even better. Got
some more pictures from the track, so maybe we can roll through a couple of those. You could tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, in this photo, this took on Friday night, I believe. And this is me going through turns 3 and 4. Track started out really tacking the heat race, and as we moved on throughout the night, it just got slicker and slicker really throughout the whole weekend. The sprint cars were really struggling with keeping their tires on them. In the micros, we ran our main events first. So for us, it was still pretty dry slick out there. I was having to pedal the car quite a bit, probably more than I ever have at the Southern New Mexico Speedway, like I said in my interview earlier. Great weekend of racing, though, all the way from the micro sprints on Friday night to Saturday night's version, where it got even more intense. And the next picture we have is going to be from the following night on Saturday, where I was able to go win the heat race and the main event as well after a really good battle with Arizona hot shoe Mason Kiefer in the number 7 car. Actually did not have the heat race won until a late race caution flew with about 2 to go and allowed me to close up the rear bumper, and I got him after a really nice restart. And in the following main event to that, we had a really good start once again in the main event. I ended up leading all laps, but another really good battle between me and Mason Kiefer for that lead position. He came and just about threw me a right rear with about 5 to go, but we were able to hold him off, and it ended up being just a perfect weekend for us down there.
Awesome. Well, did you have some photos from the other group, the sprint cars that were running as well?
Yeah, so not only were the micro sprints running, but also the 305 wing sprints running with the Lucas Oil Series down there. This first picture is of Wes Wofford. He took Friday night's portion after a really exciting main event. Actually, I think the lead must have changed about 3 times on the last lap.
A ton of cars in that race.
Yeah, a huge amount of cars running that race. Right rear tires were blowing like crazy on the last lap, and he was able to conserve just enough to win. Here we have John Carney II, who took the win Saturday night after running just a perfect race. He's been running all over the country, and just a really, really great weekend of racing down south.
Well, of course, there's a lot of great things that are going on around the state. And so every week you'll be able to tune in here and find out how you can plan out your weekend and the different things that we got going on. But in the next segment, we're going to be joined by a local legend, Jason Irwin. And then following up, we're going to have Jim Costa. So there's a lot of great things coming up, as well as in the final segment, we're going to actually break down some of the professional races and different things that are going on. You've been watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report on the ProView Network.
Dream Style Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dream Style Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dream Style Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or DreamStyleRemodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Did you know Sunrun Solar is the largest residential solar company in the country? Go solar and save 20% on your electric bill for as little as $0 down. Exclusive partner with Costco, and member guests receive special benefits. Call Mike Gutierrez at 505-227-0791. Sunrun Solar.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape. To keep my car in Ninja Tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa Auto parts, like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service. And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time. Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened?
Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car crafters, it's like it never happened.
Duke City Sports Bar. Proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth that's real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
The New Mexico Motorsports Report. I'm really thrilled to bring Jason Irwin, driver of the Milwaukee Power Tool Weather Guard number 9 in the Lucas Oil Modified Series, here with us. Jason, how's it going today?
It's going good. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. So what do you got going on this year?
This year's actually really busy. We're getting back in the Legend car, which I didn't do last year at all, so I already started doing that. Had 1 race this year so far. And then we're also doing full swing at the Lucas Oil Modified Series again, so I'm going to go try and win that championship.
Yeah, and I think we do have some pictures of that Lucas Oil Modified car that we can roll here in just a second. The Lucas Oil Modified Series car, really unique cars, fun to drive. What makes them so unique from any other car that you've driven before?
The thing that makes them most unique is just that, as you see here, a lot of the things that we're doing now, we're on a bump stop setup, so it's a lot more advanced, and as you can see, we get the nose nice and sealed to the ground, which creates more aerodynamic for us, which is huge for our cars because the Modifieds back east, they run on a really big tire, so we run on an 8-inch groove tire, which is a little bit different, so we have a lot less grip with the same amount of horsepower, so we got to figure out how to manage that.
Mm-hmm. And now if we move on to the next photo over here, shows a little bit more about what you got going on over in that series. Again, really unique cars. Loved driving these when I had the chance to do it too. What's going on in this photo?
This was actually at the autograph session in Havasu 95 Speedway. You know, it's not my favorite track, but we definitely try and work on it and get better. But, you know, you can see all the little aerodynamic tricks we got on it. We got a couple wickers on the top roof, and then we got a wicker on the back spoiler as well. Just trying to create all that downforce we can to put all the force we can on our little skinny tires.
And you just came back from the Havasu 95 Speedway too, right?
We did, yeah. We were down there March 10th. We ended up running 5th down there out of 24 cars, which is, it's pretty good. We were happy with that. It was our best finish at Havasu so far. Mm-hmm. So not our best racetrack by any means, so we're definitely looking forward to starting the season good and getting rolling from there.
Yeah, sounds like a really fun season coming up. You want to explain to us a little bit what goes on behind the scenes in a race weekend, from traveling on Thursdays like I know you usually do, all the way throughout the weekend to the race on Sunday and then coming home?
Yeah, travel day, we usually leave Thursday. Depending on where we're going, it's usually in the afternoon. Sometimes we leave in the morning. It's just a lot of driving, so we want to show up to the track Friday fresh and ready. We want to have the crew, nice and well rested, not tired from driving Friday morning. So we usually get to the track about 10 a.m. on Fridays is where it all starts, and we actually select our tires that same day around noon. And then right when we get our tires, we got to start working on purging them out, and we get nitrogen in there, and we get all the air, and we get all the soapy stuff they use to mount the tires out of there so they don't raise heat during the races.
Yeah, and that's a really unique process too, going and selecting tires, and of course I know you guys have to purge them as well. What's a little bit different with having to do that in the Lucas Oil Modified Series versus maybe what someone at a local dirt track would do?
I'd say most people at just your local dirt track use air. From what I know, some may use nitrogen, but for our races,
I know we use air still.
For our races, they're just so long that we do have a lot of tire buildup, so nitrogen doesn't build up nearly as fast as air, so we just do it to try and keep the balance of the car maintained throughout the 75 or 100 lap races.
Very cool. And yeah, that's just a really unique process. I know especially with the asphalt racing, it's so important to keep those tires as close as possible to the desired air pressure that you want from the beginning of the race. I also want to talk to you a little bit about what I would consider probably a really impressive highlight of your career. I know you're the 2014 U.S. Legends Pro National Champion. What made winning that so special to you?
That was just such a special event because I had been running Legend cars for 4 years at the time, and I was running in the Pro Division, which is the elite class of Legend cars. And the Legend National is actually being held in Vegas, which was almost like our home track for the past 3 years. So we really wanted to win that deal. You get one shot a year, and every year they change the racetrack. So we knew going in we had a really good shot to win it, but with over, in our class there was 45 Legend cars that showed up, and overall I think there was about 130 cars.
Impressive, yeah.
So we were actually able to take the pole position out of all divisions, so 130 cars we qualified fast time, and I was able to win both my heat races and then win the main event. Just the pressure that was on that weekend, we knew that was kind of our shot. If it didn't happen then, we might not ever get another great shot to win a national event. So just a lot of pressure, and honestly, the higher pressure situations make for the better victories.
Yeah, and when you do capitalize on a high pressure situation such as that, it's so much stress relief at the end of the night, isn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, I usually don't get very nervous in a race car, but that race, I was sitting in staging, and I was so nervous. I had butterflies in my stomach, my hands were shaking, and once we were done, the checkered flag flew. I just felt so much relief from that whole race.
That's really cool. And one thing that we've talked about here on the New Mexico Motorsports Report before is, I guess kind of how drivers have come up through the ranks in a little bit different fashion. I've made it vocal really before that I came up through goat karts, always really through dirt. I didn't get into asphalt racing until later on in my career. What was it like starting on asphalt in the quarter midgets and really hanging out with that crew of people and working your way up that way?
Starting in the quarter midgets, I really don't even remember. I started driving a car when I was 4 and started racing at 5. You had to be at least 5 to start racing. My dad got me in a car at 4 because he wanted me to already have some practice before I got going.
Already cheating before you're even 5 years old. I like it.
But, I don't even remember starting. Racing's all I've known ever since I was little, and I'm very passionate about it now. And then working your way up, getting into a Legend car, it's one of the most difficult cars to drive on asphalt with the short wheelbase and the amount of power that you got. And we're also not on very good tires. We're just on a normal street tire. So the grip level is limited for an asphalt car. And then getting into the modified, it's almost like a big Legend car. We got a lot of horsepower and really skinny tires, and we got to try and make it handle good for 100 laps.
Yeah, just very difficult to drive. Makes you a real hot shoe, especially coming from Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is interesting to me too. With all the hotbeds of racing, being located in Charlotte, North Carolina, Indianapolis, Indiana, what is so difficult about being a race car driver from Albuquerque, New Mexico in your shoes?
I'd say the most difficult thing for us is just the traveling because, we do a lot of traveling. We don't really race local anymore. We haven't in the past couple of years. And it's a lot of miles. We race Vegas a lot, which is 600 miles. It's 8.5 hours. And for us, that's just a lot of hours on the road. And we've really proved ourselves, especially in the legend car ranks, that we can do it from Albuquerque. It is a little bit harder. We don't have quite all the resources that we need to be 100%. But we do really good with what we got, and we're going to try and go win some races this year.
A little bit of an uphill battle, but once again, you're always trucking forward, always making a name for yourself, whether it's in the Legends or now the Lucas Oil Modified Series with, of course, your first win right around the corner. I know you've been really digging for that one too, huh?
Yeah, we've been hoping for it. Runner-up 5 times in the series now.
Bridesmaid galore, huh?
Bridesmaid galore to, I think, 4 different drivers. So I feel like almost like Kyle Busch feels right now. You know, he finally got his win at Texas, but before that he had been second, third, and second. You know, that's kind of how we've been in our series. So looking forward to getting to some tracks we had success at last year and trying to pick up that first win.
Well, you'll have one really good opportunity this weekend at Tucson, Arizona, a really unique track. What makes Tucson different from, you know, Havasu 95 Speedway, the Bull Ring, and a couple other tracks that you run with the Tour?
Tucson's very unique. The track is very hard on tires, so you got to manage your stuff. It's a 75-lap race. 75 laps on that little tire with that amount of horsepower, that's a lot to ask out of the tire. But that's the biggest thing, is you got to get the balance right to where your car changes the least and you have the least amount of fall off. That track, it's got progressive banking. The bottom is almost flat, but the top is probably the most banked track we race at. So if you get the thing wound up around the top, you can really carry the momentum, and then if you're down on the bottom, you got to make sure you're not spinning the tires off on the flat part of the racetrack.
Again, really fun, though, going to a track where you have options. I know from a dirt driver standpoint, whenever you're able to have options, whether it's in, you know, go-karts, legends, midgets, sprint cars or micro sprints, whatever it is, when you have options, it makes for really good racing and good battles all the way throughout the field. So Tucson, Arizona this weekend. What race on the Lucas Oil Tour are you looking forward to most this year?
I kind of got Salt Lake City circled on our calendar. We go there in July, mid-July, and that's a track we've had a lot of success at in the past. I've only been there 3 times, but the first time I went there, we sat on the pole with quick time and ended up running 3rd. And then the second time we went there, we actually broke track record in qualifying and ran 2nd. And then the last time we went there, we actually broke track record again. And then, you know, we were able to run 2nd over there again after losing power steering on lap 20.
Power steering, losing that on lap 20. What kind of an arm pump did that give you?
That gave me a big arm pump. You know, I kind of had to get in there and loosen my left side belt so I could get up over the wheel. And I was tugging on it, and, like, you know, I was worn out in 20 laps. I don't really know how I was able to hang on to it, but I was, and we ended up finishing 2nd. Probably had the car to win that night.
And we have a couple more pictures here to pull up on the screen now. Where is this one an interview from? That looks like Kern.
Yeah, this is at Kern County Motor Speedway Park. What's cool for our series is after the race, they do TV interviews and regular interviews for the fans for the top 3 in all our class. So it's a good exposure for the people to get their sponsors in there, and you know, it's just really good exposure for our whole series.
And here you see, of course, Lucas Oil Modified Series, nationally televised with MAV TV. How cool is it getting a little bit of spotlight for drivers in what I would consider kind of a lower series with a national TV series like MAV TV?
It's really big for our series. It really helps grow the series, I think, because it draws more attention to it. So anybody coming up in the lower ranks on the West Coast, they kind of highlight the Lucas Oil Modified Series or the SRL Series as a series they want to run in. It's just good for the drivers to get publicity, and when you're doing good, you know, MAV TV is going to want to interview you. And after every race, they do interview the top 3. So you run well, you get TV time, you get to plug your sponsors in.
Yeah, speaking of sponsors, who's been helping you out this year?
This year we've had Milwaukee. They came back on board again. We got WeatherGuard, Car Crafters, locally our only local sponsor, which is big. They help us out a lot. And we got Diamond Products, Saycon Construction out of Las Vegas, and J&S Racing Engines out of Las Vegas.
Very cool. And then if fans want to get in contact with you throughout the race weekend and learn a little bit more about you, where can they go to find some of that information?
On all my social media, my username is RacinJason9. We do post updates at least after the weekend, sometimes through the weekend, so it's best to catch the recap on Sunday.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today on the New Mexico Motorsports Report, Jason. I really appreciate you coming in. Good luck in Tucson this weekend. I know I'll be out there supporting you. And we will come back shortly. You're watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report.
Hey, New Mexico, come check out the newly remodeled guest rooms at the new Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center, featuring 309 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space. New Mexico's only indoor water park featuring the Wave Runner. 2,200 square foot fitness center with hydro massage chairs. Also enjoy breakfast at our new Manzanita Grill and watch your favorite team play at Altitude Sports Bar and Grill. It's all at Wyndham Albuquerque Hotel and Conference Center. Terry Cosper Insurance Agency is a proud partner with ProView Networks and a proud supporter of New Mexico high school athletics. Terry's been a local farmer's agent for over 20 years for auto, home, life, and business insurance. Just like high school sports are important, so are teen drivers. For more information, call Terry or one of his licensed staff members at 898-5556. Quotes are available for you. Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Nothing completes a trip downtown like a visit to Lindy's Cafe. You won't find a more relaxing restaurant to unwind at. Located on 5th and Central, proud supporters of ProView Networks, Lindy's strives to be a friendly and welcoming place.
Lindy's, a great place to be seen.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
My truck's my baby, and the only guys to get to work on her are my guys. They know how important she is, and they treat her with respect. When it's time for maintenance, they check her out from head to toe, and my guys don't wait for something to go wrong. They let me know what they see so that little problems don't become big ones. And when it comes to technology, my guys are setting the pace. From diagnostics to communication, they're always ahead of the curve. Do I trust them? You bet I do. These are my guys. Make them your guys too.
Gecko's Bar and Tapas, a proud supporter of ProView Networks. It's been a fan favorite spot for food lovers and sports fans. With not one, but two great locations, including outdoor patio, an atmosphere you won't want to miss. Gecko's, off Academy and in Nob Hill.
Carmody Medical provides solutions for your everyday needs. Hot and cold compression wraps provide therapeutic compression for the shoulder, hip, and knee. The therapy wraps are constructed of an insulated outer fabric and a ventilated cotton pocket to protect the body. Elastic belts allow mobility and deliver a gentle, adjustable compression. The reusable therapy packs can be removed from the pouch and placed into the freezer. Contact Jim for more information.
Turbo Threads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. Turbo Threads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for Turbo Threads.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the ProView Network. And of course, one of the biggest sponsors and supporters of everything cars in Albuquerque, is our guest joining us now, president, owner, chief bottle washer for Yearwood Performance, Jim Costa. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I managed to get the bathrooms cleaned before I got here, so all is well.
And just to throw you off, I said morning, but it's not.
No.
So I just get so used to that. And of course, had you many times on the New Mexico Motorsports Report on ESPN Radio. As a matter of fact, what was it, a month and a half ago, you sat in for me. What was that experience like?
That was different. That was I did it because it was so far out of my wheelhouse of what I would normally do in life. I'm not the upfront, being on camera kind of guy. I pull a lot of strings behind the scenes, and I feel more comfortable doing that. And I remember, a while back we were joking about it.
Right.
And then he actually made the phone call, and I was like, well, let's just say the first few minutes was rough.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I survived it, so it didn't kill me.
Yeah. So is that something you'd consider doing again?
Perhaps. I don't know. I didn't completely crash and burn it. I did finally listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took a few weeks before I actually listened
that's
to
tough,
it. So.
isn't it? I mean, it's very hard to critique yourself. I thought you did a great job.
Thank you.
I mean,
I appreciate
especially it's one of those things where, and I've talked to many people about interviewing them. It's two guys, or Brooklyn and a gal,
right.
Talking about things that they love, and so once you get past all the rest of it,
right, and that's what I ran into when I did it was, never doing it before, not knowing what to expect, and then doing the first segment solo.
Right,
that was tough.
Right.
Once I was sitting there talking to people, it was a lot easier, because I had Chidoni from the All Call
right.
down there, and Steve Haydu, who's Mr. Music for all the car shows in town. It was a lot easier to do that, and I don't know, the first segment was a little rough. We'll just say that. So.
Let's talk about something you love. Of course, Yearwood Performance. 50 years for the business,
yep.
10 years for you.
Yep.
What's that like on a daily basis, having to go out there and balance, your passion and trying to make a profit?
At times it's challenging. Right now we're really busy because it's the time of year that we're allowed to make money. That's always jokingly say. Because we make money 3 months a year. We skate by 6 months, and then we give it all back the last 3 months.
Right.
During the winter time, because we're New Mexicans, we're all fair weather friends.
Right.
And if it's cold, God forbid, we go in the garage and actually turn a wrench.
Yeah, and there's a picture of the
the Bel Air, yeah.
The Eubank, yeah, and of course your ride is. I think the truck might, the El Camino might be right in the shot.
Yeah, the El Camino's next to it, right. That was a neat shot. That was we managed to capture that.
And here's an inside shot, and I hope you take this as a compliment, but to me it reminds me of the old super shops, right? I mean, a lot of chrome, a lot of neat things, and you go in there. And it's like the extension of the candy store when we were kids, except now it's like all of this chrome. And even you've got like 12, 14 colors of seat belts now?
Yeah, 21 or something silly like that. There's a lot of them.
How many SKUs do you have?
Over 12,000.
12,000 SKUs.
Right.
Wow, and is that like constantly changing too?
Yeah, the business evolves over time. Yeah, it evolves, so you always have to keep up and change with it. We're doing a lot more turbo stuff. We don't really stock turbos. We don't nothing really specific. But if you need to plumb your turbo, we now carry silicone couplers, aluminum tubing. We have all the braided line for the feeds and the drains, and all that. So that is our focus. Actually had this conversation with a guy that does a lot of European cars today. I said, I can't necessarily afford to stock something for a very, very specific vehicle, but if that part can be put on 20 different vehicles, I can stock it because the chances of me being able to sell it are much higher. Being a small business, you have to micromanage stuff like that in a great deal. I don't really stock that much parts for like a first gen Camaro.
Right.
But I have parts that can bolt onto every one of our vehicles in this room.
Right.
And that's kind of what we focus on, is that more generality of stocking parts that fits on everybody's cars.
We'll talk about being able to have products that are pertinent for all the different types of clients. So you ventured out a couple of years ago, decided to open a second store in Rio Rancho, or it's close to Rio Rancho, but
down the hill.
Down by Cottonwood, out yonder.
Yeah.
What's it like to? And here's a shot of it. What's it like to try and manage your product between the two stores?
That is challenging. That's actually what I do mostly with that store, is manage the product. I've got Ted over there who's been doing this since the late 70s, so he doesn't really need me for the automotive expertise, but he needs me for the product expertise. So I'm constantly shifting. I mean, he and I text each other probably 10 times a day, getting product for a customer, having somebody pull something for the side, or, you know, because we'll have customers that need it right away, and we might have sold it and he still has it, so they'll run across town and get it. So that part of it works out real well. But yeah, it's a constant battle. Now, like this weekend, I was really fortunate that I have a West Side store, because Sunday I was working on my own stuff, and I think I made 4 trips over there to get it right. So, you know, the guys think it's funny when they always laugh, oh, I'm back again. It's like, no, this is normal.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the plumbing on something done right the very first time, even when you own the stuff.
Right. Well, and I guess that's a perfect example. And we've got, you know, some accessories, of course, ignition. I mean, it's such a big thing, being able to actually take, you know, an older vehicle, put a, you know, more modern ignition system on it. Talk a little bit about just some of the products like that you have available and the expertise to get the right combination.
Well, a lot of the stuff that we do, so many different levels. I mean, we get guys a lot of times that have old distributors that still work fine, but they still have points. Points are they're horrible. They're so, I mean, as soon as you set up the dwell on a point and you start up your car, it changes. It starts going bad immediately. So we actually have kits for about $90 that you can use, and eliminates the points, makes it a magnetic pickup. Well, that saves them from having to buy a distributor for like a flathead Ford or something that, you know, there's very few available. Although Mallory does have one that we can get, but I mean, you know, they don't have to put in a brand new distributor. And we go from that simple little aspect, you know, with the distributor and a coil, all the way up to ignition control units that you can put on any ignition. And you can actually go in and plot the timing on these things to 1/10 of a degree every 1/10 of a second through the entire process. Like, you know, on a drag car, if there's a spot on the track that you know that's got a bump or something, you might want to yank just a tad bit of timing out of it, so then it can get past that bad point on the track. Well, we got that too.
That amazes me, because Lyle Greenberg one time was telling me about, like, basically where the bumps were in the track, and he could see that from the scale with his drive shaft moving around.
Yeah.
Is it too much information?
Well, that's the thing. I just wrote an article a couple issues ago about data logging and data acquisition.
Right.
I have customers, I kid you not, that have 50 to 100 sensors on their data acquisition.
And none on their head.
No, yeah.
Which is really where it should be.
They actually do have a heart monitor sensor.
Yeah, I know. I saw that in some of the forms of racing, that, you know, they wanted to look at that too. And and some of these guys, I wondered if they even had a heart. Right. So that's why I wanted to see that.
It depends. If they're going in and they're turning into each other on the corner, maybe the guy behind them has, you know, a little bit more ambition and a little less heart.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, let's talk about NOS. Of course, you know, I know you guys have it. It's available. You can refill the tanks. But I know you wrote an article also about NOS. Tell us, you know, a little bit more about how to use it.
Nitrous oxide is probably the cheapest way to get a bunch of horsepower. The kits aren't that expensive. They're about $450. The bottles. Usually 10-pound bottles. It takes $60 to fill them, and I can get you anywhere from 50 to 150 horsepower. It's cheap, and the nice thing about it is it's not always on, so you're not beating on it or putting excessive pressures. You know, cylinder pressures increase horsepower, so you know that's what the nitrous oxide is basically doing. So when you're just driving to work and you're not at the track and you don't need that extra 150 horsepower, it's not on your car. It just simply is sitting in the trunk or what have you.
You know, one time I was interviewing Robert, and he was telling me about the 3 shots of nitrous, and I said, well, how far is that? And he was like, in the first 100 feet.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
vote early, vote often. Right. Yeah. Get it in as early as you can, and that's how you go quick. That's how you get horsepower in. Our last combination we had 3 kits, and we would have the 3rd kit on. Here it's a little later, but we would have it on about 1.75 seconds. And that's all the nitrous. That's, you know, 1,100 horsepower, something like that we're adding.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow, pretty amazing. We got a shot here. We know that that you've run off and on in between crashing cars.
Right.
What are you looking to do this year?
Well, right now I've told myself I won't allow me to do race cars until I finish this poor project truck I've been working on for 5 years. Yeah. Yeah, it's coming along. I've got most of the components, I just don't have enough time. And the poor truck has been kicked to the curb every year so we can do racing and more race car stuff. So I told myself, I'm in between right now anyway, because I sold the rolling chassis, the last carcass. And now we're going to finish this truck and I'm going to get it running. So I don't anticipate being in a race car this year, but I am thinking about going to the all-out call-out and maybe taking the Soccer Mom van out.
Well,
So-
and I love the Soccer Mom van because talk about the horsepower that you have in that.
It's about 600 horsepower.
So you're driving along, it just looks like a typical Cherokee. Well, it's got a little bit of a rake to it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd lowered it, and it's the SRT8 Jeep, so it's got special tailpipes on the back. If you know what you're looking at, you know what it is. But if you hear what it sounds like, then you know what it is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, most people don't expect 600 horsepower out of something like that, which is why I did it.
Yeah. So 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got any plans? Are you thinking
We're
about
talking
anything,
about
or?
maybe doing something kind of late summer as things are starting to wind down a little bit before the weather, probably like fallish. Maybe we'll do a bash over at the Yearwood store on Eubank, or I don't know. The nice thing about the west side is it's got that huge parking lot. The last time we've done a couple open houses there, and I mean the first time when the grand opening we had 100 and something cars show up, and it was, they were cooking hot dogs and giving away sodas forever. And then we do a couple charity things, and we usually do them on Sundays because most of the businesses are closed over there.
Right.
Gives us more parking for more cars, more is better.
Right.
So, but we'll figure it out. We'll announce something soon.
Great. Well, and we'll have that information here for you for
You'll
sure.
be the first to know.
But I've always wanted to ask you, who's like your racing hero?
Probably Don Garlitz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Daddy?
Yeah, he was, I've met him a few times.
Yeah.
I finally did manage to get to his museum in Florida, and that's just, it was so cool to actually be able to see something like that. But he was such an innovator. I mean, he designed and came up with a concept of a rear engine dragster, which is now still used in Top Fuel, and they're making 10,000 horsepower doing with those things. So,
and what do you think about like some of the accidents? I've seen more accidents, I think, this year in NHRA than I have in other. Have they exceeded the ability to hook up the speed?
No, I think they're having issues, and when you're pushing the envelope as far and as hard as they are, more bad things happen. And that's why, you can see, on the test and tunes at the Albuquerque Dragway, kids go down the track, 10 times and nothing happens. Well, you go and put a 2,000 horsepower car on the same track, and the likelihood is higher that something could happen. And it all depends on the surface that you're playing with and how well it's been prepped, and how well your car is prepped to deal with the surface. Sometimes you're supposed to adapt to your surroundings, not the other way around.
Right. Well, we don't do good at adapting. We want everybody to adapt to us.
Right. That's why I just keep putting it into the wall. So. That's
right. That's right. Well, you need to stop that. But so if somebody's watching, they haven't been to one of your locations. I mean, 341 Eubank, 9674 Eagle Ranch Road.
Right.
Can they also follow you on the internet, social media?
Facebook, the internet, email, info@yearwoodperformance.com. It goes right to my phone. My spouse hates the phones.
And that's the truth.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. And
I'm surprised it's not ringing now. You got to have it turned off.
I put it on ignore mode for the 15 minutes.
Awesome. So. Well, I really appreciate you coming out this afternoon.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a whole lot more coming up on the other side. You've been watching the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the ProView Network.
Did you know Sunrun Solar is the largest residential solar company in the country? Go solar and save 20% on your electric bill for as little as $0 down. Exclusive partner with Costco, and member guests receive special benefits. Call Mike Gutierrez at 505-227-0791. Sunrun Solar.
When I train for American Ninja Warrior, I schedule regular workouts to stay in shape, To keep my car in ninja tough shape, I head to a Napa Auto Care Center for regular maintenance and genuine Napa auto parts. Like brakes and batteries. I trust my Napa Auto Care Center for quality parts and quality service.
And with the 24-month, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty, I drive away with peace of mind every time.
Visit AutoCareNM.com to find a location near you.
The Barley Room, a proud sponsor of ProView Networks for over 9 years, is pleased to introduce Black Iron Catering. From weddings and family reunions to birthdays and office parties, Black Iron Catering is perfect for any event. Contact Jamie at 505-459-8259 and book your event today. Black Iron Catering. Let us bring our kitchen to you.
Car Crafters, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this? Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters! It's like it never happened!
Duke City Sports Bar. Proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. Catch all the sports action from high school, college, pros, and MMA on one of our 35 HD TVs. Start your night off right with any selection from our delicious menu prepared with fresh, never frozen ingredients. Duke City Sports Bar, Albuquerque's newest sports bar. Located on Eubank and Montgomery, dial 505-433-4020.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the ProView Network. Easy for me to say. Joining me, Spencer Hill, Brooklyn Green. We're going to talk a little bit about the Formula One race last weekend and, of course, update you on the points. Sebastian Vettel, of course, got ahead another victory, and it came down to a strategy. He actually was trying to make it on a 2-stopper. Ended up having to do a 1-stopper, almost drove the wheels off that car, was able to maintain the distance, and Valtteri Bottas was closing quickly. I don't know, you guys were out of town. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. Had any comments about it?
One thing that I did see from the Formula One race was that ugly accident on pit road. I don't know if you saw that too, if you wanted to talk a little bit about that, but man, I'm really feeling for that crew guy over there.
Absolutely, and really what had happened is, and I'm glad that they had explained it, thank you for bringing it up, is they actually have monitors on the wheels so they can tell if the wheels are on. That's how they give them a release. Well, if you go back and you see the video, the wheel never came off. So the sensor said go, so they sent the guy, and unfortunately the tire changer was in there just really trying to yank on it, so he got that unsafe release, and basically the rear end of the car just drove over him.
Just really hard.
Yeah, and of course, you know, with how wide those tires are, that was very tough. But Sebastian Vettel, two victories on the season. Actually, how last season got started as well, as they got out to a quick start, and then of course you had Mercedes come back with Lewis Hamilton second in points. Valtteri Bottas now into 4th. The most amazing, though, to me is Fernando Alonso to be sitting here right now, 4th in points ahead of Kimi Räikkönen. Of course, Kimi had a terrible day. We got the standings there for you to check out. Nico Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg, I always get that wrong.
All these names are a little bit difficult.
Right, exactly.
I'm not gonna lie.
And then, of course, Daniel Ricciardo, a real favorite, had another poor showing. But actually, both of the Red Bulls were out of the race. Verstappen went out early. And so I don't know if maybe, he's just has overperformed or what's going to happen there. But a long season. And this year, I didn't cop any video from him. So we're not going to get this yanked off like we did last year. Of course, we're showing some video of how you do not win a race but lose a championship in turn 1. So anyway, we want to move on to IndyCar at this point. Also a really good race at Phoenix. What was amazing, and I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but they took a wrecking ball to the Phoenix track today. So they raced there on Sunday, and they knocked it down because by the time the NASCAR guys get back there, the Cup guys get back there, it's going to be all different. And it's going to be ready to go, new start-finish line. Great race. Once again, Robert Wickens, this rookie, is absolutely phenomenal, but ends up losing the race again. On that late race restart, Joseph Newgarden, who must have cojones the size of rocks because he went around on the high side and made the pass. So that's why he's got the #1 on the car. But I tell you, the one guy I'm really watching is that Napa driver with Alexander Rossi. And he's doing quite well, sitting 2nd in points. But Joseph Newgarden, your leader. Sebastian Bourdais, Graham Rahal, Ryan Hunter-Reay top out your top 5. Scott Dixon has really been kind of struggling, which is a surprise. But it was really neat to see the 25th anniversary of Mario Andretti and all the fanfare that was around it. And I don't know if you saw this, but John Haverland ended up getting to ride in the 2-seater with Mario. I have no idea. He's going to have to explain that to us. But John Haverland is one of the reporters that does the Haverland's Hot Takes on nmmotorsportsreport.com. So you want to check that out. So, of course, he was writing for front stretch, so we don't get that story. But we will have to get him on next time he's in town and talk to him about that. But so jealous. And, of course, I wanted to go to that race. And my wife had me doing some other stuff. So there you go.
The Valley of the Sun did not disappoint this weekend, though. But once again, with the open wheels, trouble on pit road struck a lot of the drivers in the IndyCar Series this weekend, with pole sitter Sebastian Bourdais sliding a little bit deep in his pit, as well as Alexander Rossi, who was able to recover a little bit better than Bourdais did. But pit trouble again on pit road. I don't know if it's just how hot it was in Phoenix this weekend or what it was, but really interesting racing down there.
There was trouble on pit road and in NASCAR as well, so I think it was just a bad luck thing going around.
Yeah, and talk about a completely different scenario is Texas.
Yes.
It was so cold in Texas, and of course the Xfinity race on Saturday, a lot of beating and banging in that race.
It took a beating.
Yeah, and I was really surprised that so much of that actually carried over to the beginning of the Cup race as well. But talk a little bit about your thoughts on the Xfinity season so far.
I think they've been putting on some good shows. I think that with Ryan Blaney getting the win, what was that, his 7th win so far? His 7th career win? So
yeah.
I thought Texas was a good race. I think it put the whole entire, both the Xfinity and the Cup. I feel bad for that wall coming out of turn 4. So many drivers hit it. But overall, I think the Xfinity has done a good job putting on good shows, putting on some entertainment, that's for sure.
So what is your thoughts about having the Cup drivers participate in that? Do you think that it gives the opportunity for the young drivers that are coming up, or do you think that they actually are better with racing against more quality drivers?
I feel like I go both ways on this. I think obviously racing against people who have experience gives you better experience. It shows, gives you someone to look up to, someone to follow. But then again, I feel like those spots should be filled by people that are trying to make it. You know what I mean? That we should be getting more young drivers into the Xfinity, into the truck. Whereas we know Kyle Busch can drive. We don't need him winning truck races. I think that those should be left open for people that are trying to make it to that Elite Series, the Monster Cup Energy Series. So I kind of go both ways on that question.
I think what a lot of people don't understand, though, when it comes to the NASCAR Cup Series drivers coming into the lower series, is it's helping the sport a lot more behind the scenes than people really realize. It's hard to sell sponsorship for a new, unproven driver versus somebody like Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, who's able to come on and receive the sponsorship dollars for these young drivers to make a couple more starts. It's a lot of give and take, though. I know people are completely divided on this issue.
Yeah.
Personally, I love it. I love being able to go out there and say, not only did I beat the best Xfinity drivers, but I also beat the best Cup driver that's going on right now.
But how often does that happen?
When it does happen, though, it's amazing.
It does happen, but I will say, wearing the promoter hat, that it helps you sell some tickets too. I mean, because they do come out, to see the stars, and there is a lot of work, of course.
Look what Kevin Harvick is doing with the K&N Series in the West division, at least. A little bit in the East, but more so in the West. In Bakersfield, California, he went down there with the sole purpose to try to expand the viewership with the K&N Series. And of course, Bakersfield being his home track, it was a perfect situation. He was able to get media down there the whole weekend and really helped with the press for the K&N Series.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk about the Cup Series. Kyle Busch finally getting over. Talk about all of his second places and third place finishes, but finally getting it done, and leading in points. And he just doesn't have as many victories as we were talking about Kevin Harvick with his 3 victories. But I got to tell you, the SHR, Stewart-Haas Racing is like super strong this year. I mean, I really think that they're the ones to beat, because Kyle Busch can drive the wheel off of pretty much anything. And so when you look at it and you try and think about, well, Toyota got kind of a slow start last year, and then they really came on. Martin Truex, of course, with a victory, but now that you got Kyle Busch in there, kind of wonder when you're going to see Penske, or when you're going to see Hendrick actually finally get something done. I mean, a lot of got to see Chase Elliott, kind of get in the mix there and actually cause a couple of cars to come together behind him, with Hamlin kind of losing a little bit of control. But what are your thoughts? I mean, are we going to see, this is a crazy question, who are we going to see first, Penske or Hendrick, to actually get a victory?
And if you would have asked me that question just 2 years ago, Dave, I would have thought you were crazy, because
just 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's just that's how quick that the tables have turned in the Cup Series. It's so wild to me that really Penske and Hendrick are struggling as bad as they are. With Hendrick, I think they're putting a lot of blame towards the new Camaro body and trying to figure that out. Penske, on the other hand, I really don't know where they can throw the blame as far as their results not matching their expectations. The SHR boys, they seem to be doing really well this year. I mean, obviously, they started top 3 out of 4 this weekend in Texas, and Penske just nowhere to be found.
Absolutely, and of course, Almirola. I mean, to me, that's a perfect example of what the 10 has been able to do. But I got to wonder. I mean, who's going to get there first? Is it going to be Blaney, or is it going to be Chase Elliott? And the other reason that I post that is, how many times have I been sitting here, hey, Chase Elliott's on the verge. Chase Elliott's going to get there. We're all waiting. But I tell you, the swagger that Ryan Blaney has. I mean, that kid is like chill. I mean, he's like an ice cube.
And I love that he gives the flag to the kid every time.
Right. Well, and he's classy. But you got to wonder. I mean, is that a little bit of the growing up around the dirt track? I mean, because the dirt track, come on, the dirt track has always been more connected to the fans. Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, other than certain situations, I mean, it's really been one of those disconnect. But just looking at the points really quick, and of course we set those based on first you get in, to the playoffs. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Clint Boyer. And Austin Dillon, of course, is sitting there with 159 points, but he's got the win and you're in. So is that going to be it? That's really what it's going to come down to. Rounding out, you got Joey Logano, Blaney, and Kozlowski. So you got all the Penske cars right there today. Kurt Busch actually having a really good run in the top 10 with Denny Hamlin. So
almost winning in Texas too. It came close.
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to make sure that if you missed any of the shows or anything, you can go to nmmotorsportsreport.com. You can check them out, plus our radio shows. But tune in next week for the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on the ProView Network.